So I'm going to show you guys a few things on Minn Kota's Legacy Ulterra, the brushed version, that you guys can do this spring before you hit the water to kind of prevent some issues. Um, a lot of issues that we see are actually power related when it comes to problems with these, but I'll just kind of go through and take apart a few things and show you what you can expect to prevent some issues. So you want to remove the side panels. It's just a Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to do the one on the other side here. So this is your drive motor. This is a gear worm that moves like this. A lot of times we see these screws are backed out. So this bracket here isn't tight together, and then it creates a lot of play in there. Make sure these screws are tight. You actually got to take this whole bracket out if they're not tight, and there's Phillips heads on the inside and the outside here. Next, you got a cam arm assembly in here. That's a sensor that tells the control board when it's deployed or when it's stowed. This is a 3/16 hex head. So we'll pull that cover off. Make sure you don't have any debris in here, because if you do, this arm isn't going to go over the sensor here to tell the Ulterra control board when it's deployed, and then it won't let you, it's not going to allow you to use any functions. There is an old style and a new style. We'll post a picture of the old style. If you have the old style, you want to get this replaced with the new style. It's only like 15 bucks, and it will prevent issues when you're out on the water. Now if you take this side off, this sensor is actually on the inside of here. You can see some webs and stuff in there. We just want to make sure all that's clean, so this arm can go over that sensor there. This is the one that actually tells you when the motor's sucked up and it's stowed properly. Next thing you want to do is pull your prop off. Make sure there's no line behind there, because if there is, it'll take your seals out. Then you'll get water inside the housing. So we got a couple leads in there, which isn't a huge deal. If you get a bunch of fishing line in there, there's a seal right here. When that seal goes out, water goes inside, and then you're looking at rebuilding the motor. If you come over here, you want to make sure all of this stuff is clean, because if it's not, what happens is these two pins on top of here, they go in and they go inside of here. And as far as your belt tension goes, you don't want this too tight, otherwise the motor will have to work really hard when it's going up and down. You want it kind of loose like this. So, I can stick a couple of my fingers in there. That's good. If you need to adjust the tension on the belt, there's a screw up in the head of the motor here. That's going to be a 5/32 hex head. Turn it counterclockwise to loosen it, or clockwise to tighten it. Like I said, this one's about right. Some of you guys who've never done any belt maintenance might have it where you can't get it any tighter. Then it's probably time to replace it. And I'll show you guys how that's done. You got 5 Phillips screws in the head of the motor here. And just look at this. This is the inside of that hex head screw for tensioning the belt. So what happens is your belt comes up the shaft, through the head, and into here. So this screw will bottom out if your belt is stretched out all the way. We'll probably make a different video on how to actually replace the belt because it's a little more intensive than this. Another thing, if you want to be thorough on your inspection, is just open the head of this and make sure that these wires are good, nothing's pinched, everything's got good connections. Then you can close it back up. A lot of guys ask about lubrication. You can use Pledge on here. We actually don't recommend lubricating it, at least the shaft and some of the components in here. Reason being is it attracts a lot of dust. As long as you keep it clean, you shouldn't have any problems. But again, if you do want to use some type of lubrication, Pledge is water-based lubricant is the best way to do it. And you can put a little bit of grease on this drive worm here to prevent problems. Another important thing is to make sure that all this stuff is super clean inside of here. Somebody has a lot of dirt and stuff in there. We actually just use brake cleaner and clean it all out. And then we might apply like a water-based lubricant. We actually use dry graphite spray, which we'll show you a picture of in the video. That seems to work really well and not attract so much dust. So you'll see here, if this isn't clean and kind of lubricated and this is dirty, you'll see how this pin drives this cam arm assembly. So this one's okay. This arm assembly went over the sensor. So this will function just fine. But like I said, if it's dirty in here, this pin won't go against that arm assembly, and you won't be able to turn right or left or do prop on or anything like that. So just make sure that's super clean, and yeah. The biggest problem that we see with these Ulterras when they come to the shop actually aren't the Ulterras themselves. It has to do with power, whether it's a bad connection somewhere, corrosion on the circuit breaker, dead cells in a battery, or using the incorrect, shouldn't say incorrect, but plug-in receptacles that just aren't good for these. They do require very consistent voltage and amperage, so any bad connections or corrosion does cause those problems where it won't stow or you're having issues when it's deployed. We'll post a picture of the plug styles to stay away from, and also show you a couple of things that we do use on installs here to prevent power issues.